Okay, the last part of pitch notation that we're going to deal with here is key signatures. And key signatures are, again, a challenge. It seems like that term signature in any music seems to be a problem. The time signature and the key signatures are the hardest to teach and the hardest for the students to understand. So what I'm going to do here, we'll talk about our clef. Going to start with a treble clef. This is the first thing you'll see in the music if you have a pitch staff. Next thing we have our key signature, which goes right there, and our time signature, which goes right after it. So if you're looking for the key signature, it goes in the middle between the clef and the time signature. Okay? Now, what is a key signature? A key signature is a shortcut. Okay? Composers are lazy. They don't want to write in a bunch of sharps and flats, those accidentals that we just discussed. So what they do is, instead of having, if I have a whole bunch of B's and I want them to all be flatted, we don't want to have to go around and write in flats next to all of those notes. So what I do is, in my key signature, I can put a flat, and that changes all of those notes, which that's our B line, every good boy. So that means that all of the B's, whether they're down here, or whether they're up here, or whether they're right here, all of those B's are flatted. Okay? And I don't have to put a flat next to them at all. So that's pretty nice. It's also very confusing. And one of the biggest challenges for music teachers when they're teaching instrumentalists and sometimes even choir people is getting them to make sure that they play their sharps and flats in the key signature. Now, the key signature designates our tonality. And there's another video on tonality, but basically this is our pitch center that the music is based on. So if I have one flat in my key signature, that tells me that this song is going to be in a specific key. That's why we call it the key signature, because it signs the key for us. Or it tells us the tonality, which those are two pretty much the same thing. Okay? So I know that if I have one flat, that is going to be either the key of F major, if it's a major mode, and I can't spell major. Or if it's in minor, it's going to be D minor. Because those two keys or tonalities are related to each other. They both have one flat in the key signature. Okay? And I taught you in that tonality video on determining which key you're in. So you can watch that for some extra help here. Now, here's what happens. My flats or sharps, whatever they may be, have to go in a specific order in my key signature. So the flats in order go B, E, A, D, G, C, F. And again, you can have your students come up with a saying for these. One that I came up with in a class one time that the students have appreciated a lot. Big elephants are darn good cat flatteners. So that kind of helps them remember that. So this is the flats going that direction. The cool thing is if you can memorize it one way, you've got it memorized the other way, because the sharps go that way. So the order of sharps is F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Now, here's what happens. If I need to have three flats in my key signature, I go B, E, and A. And they have to go B, E, and A. They have a specific place on the staff. Okay? Let's say I want all 7 of them. I'm going to move my clef over here. B, E, A, D, G, C. Sometimes the F will be down here, sometimes it's up here. But it looks prettier down here, I think, because it makes more of a nice sequence there. So there's all 7 of my flats, and that's what it would look like. And that tells me that I'm in the key of F flat. Yuck. Okay, lots of flats. If I have sharps, I'll just break up my staff here. I'll start with a bass clef just for fun. Let's say I have 4 sharps in my key signature, so I'm going to have F, C, G, and D. Now I know that all of those sharps are included, and all of the FCs, G's, and D's are sharped throughout the entire song. Okay? Now, I know that this is the key of E major or C sharp minor because I've memorized all those. There is a trick, and I'm just going to show you briefly what that trick is, if I can remember it. It's been a long time since I've taught this. So with the sharps, we look at the next to the last sharp, so F, C, G, D. So if I look at, maybe it's the last sharp. If I look at the last sharp and I go up a step, let me see if that works. If I'm in the key of, yeah, that works. If I have 2 sharps, yeah, that works. Okay, so look at the last sharp and then go up a step. Okay, so if my last sharp is D, I go up a step, I'm in the key of E. If my last sharp is F, I go up a step and I'm in the key of G. Now that's a little tricky. For example, if I had like 6 sharps and I went up a step, you might think, well, that's F. No, because F has 1 flat, we already said. So you got to make sure that it's F sharp and not just F. Now the trick with the flats is a little easier. If you look at the next to the last flat, that actually tells you your key signature. So if I have 3 flats, we'll cut it off here. Here's my next to the last flat, that's on E, so I'm in the key of E flat. If I have 7 flats, I look at the next to the last flat, that's on C, so my key is C flat. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. But there's just a little trick there to help you understand what the keys are and how it associates. You do have to memorize that 1 flat is F and 1 sharp is, well, we already did that one, is G, and that no sharps or flats is the key of C. And those are all major, okay? To find my relative minor, I have to go down 5 half steps to get that, but again, a lot of that stuff's just memorized. And you're not going to have to deal with that a lot because the music is going to help you determine that without having to get all these little practices down. Alright, so hopefully that's everything on pitch notation. It's a lot to learn and it's a ton to teach to students. So if you're going to do it, start early and give them a nice foundation.